Hey, I'm Seth with Land the House. Thank you so much for tuning in to the shed build series. It's time to get the top plate and trusses installed on the shed, so that's what we're going to be doing in this video. Real quick disclaimer, I am just a homeowner with a YouTube channel making a shed, so remember that as you watch this video. I'm not a professional. If you want to build a shop yourself, definitely contact a pro and just use this video for entertainment purposes. You'll notice here that the side walls, like this one here, go all the way to the end, and the front and back walls stop right here. What I want to do is make sure my top plate goes across all the way to the edge on this one, so it bridges that gap and locks this together. And I'll do that on this side as well, and then it'll be the same on the back side. And then I also want to make sure the top plate spans over the gap where the two 10-foot walls came together to lock those down as well. On the front here, I need to span this gap right here and this one right here where the two walls were put together. So I've just got a regular old 8-foot 2x4. I'm gonna pick this up and get it put into place. I had purchased some of these 16-footers thinking I was going to use them for this top plate, but I just realized I need those for rafter ties. So we'll be using pieces from down here for now. So I'm going to match this up on the ends, and then I'll be able to just put some regular 2.5-inch screws down. The top plate doesn't just lock down for strength, but also locks down for straight. So when I had the piece of wall right here that was in two sections, I then was able to pull the top plate into position and it straightens things up. So anyway, very helpful. Last piece is going to be from there across to this side. So let's go ahead and see what that's going to be. Holding the GoPro, so maybe I can get a good angle here. All right, and we need 72 3/4 inch. I just wrapped up the top plate quickly because I know you're here for the trusses, but just wanted to show that it is really pulling this place together nice, especially places where two different walls are put together. So before the top plate, whenever you would shake a wall, it had a lot more play to it, and now it is really firming up. So doing well. Okay, the trusses, ooh, you can't see me. The trusses are over here underneath this black plastic. Let's go ahead and get this uncovered. It's rained on these twice, I believe, but hopefully being under this plastic, there is no issue. Now there are a number of ways to get these trusses installed. This is the way that I like to do it. Instead of having the top plate here and the truss sitting here and cutting out a very specific angle of a bird's mouth cut like that, so it will sit properly on there, what I like to do is use two sets of strong tie. The first one is this one that goes at a 90 degree, and that goes on this side of the truss, or the top plate, and then connects with the truss up like this. And that just prevents it from being able to go out. And then I also have the H1 clip, which I like to put on the outside of the top plate, like this. And that will allow the truss to sit into that at the right angle. And so it has double the support, and I don't have to cut all of those bird's mouth cuts. To get the strong tie metal pieces attached, I'm going to come up here on my top plate with the tape measure, and I want to mark out 2 foot on center and make my marks for the truss. So once again, using the speed square, I'm going to come out 3/4 of an inch on each side of 2 foot and make my mark. I'll make that better whenever I have my second hand, but basically that's where that truss is going to go, and the strong tie will go out here, the H1 clip, and that angled bracket will go here on this side. And we'll get those installed first so that the truss is easier just to set down in here. So I'm just going to move along every 2 foot and do those same markings to indicate where the trusses are going to fit. I started from the front on the other side over there, so I'm going to start on the front on this side as well, and just mark out every 2 feet where the stud, where the truss placement is going to be, and that will give me consistency as I go down the line. I'm going to start off with the H1 clip, and it's going to go here on the outside, and I want to line up my pencil marks with the clip so that it is nice and even. Now it's way easier to put screws into this angle, so I'm going to do 2 screws and then 2 nails, and that should be sufficient. Okay, for some reason I was thinking I had to have short screws, but I can do 3.5 inch screws, 3.5 inch nails here, and it will be no problem. And it'll hold that a whole lot better than those short stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and replace those with some much better. Yep, that's totally gonna knock you off of there. I just finished getting all of the H1 clips installed, and I'll sometimes like to show my mistakes. See how close these two are together? I was supposed to do 2 foot, 2 foot, 2 foot, but I put one here instead. So with the nail I couldn't get it back out, but luckily I had purchased a couple extras, and that should not get in the way because that 2x6 will be tall enough to avoid that. So they're all done on both sides. Now it is time to start getting the trusses up. Now, to get the gable end, I have to put a couple of blocks up so I don't swing the truss up and they just keep on going. So let's go ahead and put up some blocking real quick. Remember, whenever we built the gable end trusses, we left off the gussets on one side, and that will allow us to put sheathing on here on the outside. So I have got this facing towards the door, so when it flips up it will be facing the inside. And I also have my ladder out here, and I've got a clamp up there so we can get this attached. So what I'm going to try to do is get this piece right here on the edge of the building, and then we can come out here and flip it up into place. We'll see how it works. We may have to do it from the inside. Got it hanging up there. Let me just see if it's doable here from the inside. Good progress. I'll go ahead and use my clamp to keep this from falling off. Now on these gable ends, I'm unable to use the H1 clips because they would stick out too far. And so I am just using a metal plate that will fit here and get these ends installed. So I can't really do this and hold the camera, so hold on one second. Okay, there we go. Just simply put that plate on the edge. I'll probably put a couple more of these screws in here, but that will be plenty to keep that plate or that truss there on the end. Now I have to come back and make sure that the sides of both of these are exactly the same. Any variation along the way and my fascia board won't fit right. So what I'm going to do, I know the other end has 7 inches and this one has 4 1/4, so I got to find the difference there and match them up perfectly. I found these tails to both be exactly 6 inches, which is really handy. So we'll go ahead and get some screws in here to hold this gable end in place. I went ahead and got the second truss up just for practice because there is a support piece that has to be put in between there at the very ridge. So to do that, what I've done is measured between my clips, my H1 clips, and that is 22.5 inches. So my board is 21 inch to go between the two because it has to make up for the plywood gusset. So I'm going to cut a 21 inch board here and we will attach that to the next truss in line, and when we swing it up it will connect with the next one and that will let us attach the top. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. 21 inches. Just got a couple of 3.5 inch screws. I'm going to use these to kind of angle in. Very nice. When moving this into position, you want to make sure that the board that we just added is facing the next one, and then you can flip it over so that the triangle is upside down, and then you can go ahead and just set it up on top. Something kind of like that. And then I'm going to set this ladder up here in the middle so it makes it easy to get this flipped up. Nice. Once it lands in those H1 clips, it's a lot less difficult to move around. Now before I screw this down, I want to just take my tape measure and make sure that it's 6 inches here. So this one actually needs to come our way just a touch here. Oops, a little bit too much. There we go, right at 6. And now we can put some nails and screws into the H1 clip. This is where I was forgetting earlier where the 1.5 inch nails and screws go into. Putting nails in this is a bit awkward, so I'm just going to do the top hole on the H1 clip. And we also have to get the top buckled down, so I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing where I use some 3.5-inch screws. I finished getting the rest of the trusses up without you, and they are looking so nice. So got them all the way down to the last gable end there, and everything is locked down except for some on this side over here. But I thought, if I'm going to be up on the ladder, I might as well go ahead and get all of the H2.5 clips installed. They've got a 90-degree on them, and let me show you what these do. So you'll climb up here. Oop, that's too steep. There we go. So what this is going to do is go here on the inside, and I will have it sit about right there. Oops, wrong side. Sit just about like that, and so it will span the top of the wall and the top plate, and then go here into the truss as well, and it will just basically lock down both sides, and this thing won't go anywhere. So while I'm up here, I'm gonna go ahead and get this attached. Like I'd mentioned before, some people are really worried about putting only screws into this type of a bracket. So I'm going to put both screws and a couple of nails in each one of these. I still have to get those nails in there, but each one of these is very repetitive. So I'm gonna go ahead and get them all installed without you, and I'll show you what it looks like here when it's done. I've managed to get all of the trusses totally installed, and they are looking quite nice. Let me show you what we've got here. So, got the gable end over here, locked down in the middle and on the sides. It does not have a strong tie on the inner side yet. I may add one later. It'll just be an L bracket style. But I've got the nail plate over here. I'll probably put a couple more screws and nails in there to lock that down nicely. And then we move on, all of the middle trusses are the same. They've got the H1 clip and the H2.5 clip. So each of those is locked down. Once again, I'll probably add another couple nails and screws to those to finish them out. And then the clip over here, you can see right there. But they are all consistent down here. And then as well on this side over here. Now later on I'm going to be doing the fascia and all that on this side. We'll get to that later. And there's also going to be ladders, that's what they're called, I believe, that will go out on this side for rain protection, not hitting the door in the side, but that's for a later video. There were some inconsistencies in my trusses as far as the little middle support is down here. That's going to be okay. And then we also, probably in the same video that has the ladders and the fascia and all that, I'll be also doing a board across the from wall to wall, which is called a rafter tie. So I'm going to cut these 16 foots down to the 14, and that will go from one side right here. It'll connect both to this and to the truss, and we'll span across and connect over here to this side, and that will prevent the walls from swelling out whenever there's a heavy snow load up on the roof. But anyway, we'll get to that later. And that concludes the installation of the trusses here on the shed build. If you've enjoyed the video, hit the thumbs up. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, ring the notification bell, and leave me a comment down below on your thoughts for the trusses installation. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.